You guys are going to love this session. It is ridiculous. So it's with a guy, finished high school, year 8, finished school. That was his. That was where he got to. Then started a carpet cleaning business and ran that for 15 years. Is now doing hundreds of millions of dollars of property development. This guy's an absolute machine. He got educated. He took the steps that he needed to do, doing 1 into 2 subdivisions, 1 into 3, 1 into 4, 1 into 5, 1 into 4, 1 into 5, split it, sold the land, subdivided it, got it all, did all of these crazy things where he just bought the property and then did options and did so much interesting stuff. And it just makes me realize, like, I don't want to insult the guy, but like, you don't need to be a PhD in property to make money. In fact, I see more highly intelligent people fail at property than people that just take the consistent action. And that's the real lesson out of this episode. We unpack with Carson. Now, Carson's off doing 40, 50, 60, 70 lot subdivisions. So he is willing to share all of the insights about these smaller 1 into 2, 3, 5, 10s and all of the value to unpack from there. So this is the beauty of these sessions. I love that when they've got nothing to hold back. That's like, I don't care. I don't want these 1 into 6s. I'm on to something else, and you can soak up the knowledge. Hey everyone, my name is Joe Tucker, and together with Jeff Miles, we created Oz Property Investors and the Level Up course, where we teach everyday Aussies how to build passive income through property, and the whole process and the step-by-step of making it happen. This session today is with Carson Bolt. He has created Salt Developments and a big part of Unemployable Media, which is a fantastic podcast for the property division. And we unpack the step-by-step process of property development. But for me, it's more of the mindset. It's how does he think about this? How does he approach this? Because it's not difficult. The result, one of the deals, 5 months, $770,000 worth of profit with just 2 guys working on the deal throughout the years. And ridiculous returns because they took the steps that they had to take. Let's jump in. You're going to enjoy this one.
How do you think about the responsibility of other people's money, and what sort of questions should people be asking if they're contributing money to deals?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and that nothing grinds my gears more when you see people not respect people's money. And I see it on Facebook groups as well, where people are trying to raise money like illegally. You need an AFSL license to ask for money to a certain, once you get over a certain degree. I think it's 20 people or something in bits and pieces. So there's all these things that people just aren't talking about. I mean, my business partner, we met a developer, and he had a deal, and he put down a little bit of deposit. He needed some more money, and so he invited all these people out for lunch. And the first thing he did when he shook our hand was like, "Have you got $1 million?" And it was like, "I'll give you 20% return." And then like we said no, and then like the next Monday it was like 25% return, then 30%, then went to 40% because he needed it by that Friday, otherwise he was going to lose his deposit. And so like I say, to some of our coaching clients now, I'm just like, even if you're the person giving the money, you also need to take responsibility for the developers' numbers as well. You can't just take that as gospel that those are going to be the sale prices. You need to do your own homework. But for the developer themselves, a lot of them just don't respect the money. And, that's really grinds me because I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money. Like in some of these groups I've been in 10 years, I know one person that lost $30 million of people in that group's money. And I've watched it happen in front of my eyes. And that's normally because they get too big, too quick, and get all excited, make 500,000. Oh, let's make 5 million, or they have a couple of wins, and then they just go for the Hail Mary, and it all comes crumbling down. And I've seen it happen lots of times. So, yes, it can be done right, and like joint ventures and that side of things has been incredible.
Are there any obvious red flags that you kind of see that you're like, oh, no, watch out for these kind of things? If someone says this, like prime example, I'll give you 20%, 25, 30, 40. Are there any other kind of red flags? And like, I mean, one of the ones that I see a little bit is like how slick the suit is and how slick the marketing material is and how much money is spent on that. And that's not really a representation of the reality. Like if it's super nice, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad deal, obviously. But I see a lot of people that have that slick marketing spending a lot of capital into that to get all these people in that may not, that will fall for it. Not saying that that's necessarily a red flag, but just, if it's very slick and the person's really pushy, I'm a little bit concerned and worried.
Yeah, 100%. You want security on your money, for one. A lot of people give money over and don't get any security, whether it be, a caveat or second mortgage or something. And sometimes that, as you would know, Jeff, with the lending side of things, can complicate it a little bit. So that's why a lot of the time they don't do it. But you need to get some kind of security. But also the other thing is, like, court the person first. Like, you want to know who I hate saying this, but like who you're getting into bed with at the end of the day. Like, because you can have all the paperwork, you have all the joint venture agreements and everything done and do that. But if it all goes south, it's still going to be messy, right? Yeah. And look, development is notoriously risky in and of itself already, which is why the margins are so good. But, and sometimes things can just go wrong as well. Like, I know experienced developers that still make mistakes now. So, like, red flags would definitely be, returns that are too high. But some of the super slick guys as well, you'll see if you look at their feasibility, they'll have like a big acquisition fee for them finding the deal, and then they'll put these huge project management fees in there as well. So they're almost pulling a really good clip out of it. And then we'll share the profits with you. I was like, yeah, but they've already taken 20, 30% off the table. Whereas we would just go 50-50 down the line or whatever. Early days, I was only taking like a 15% cut because I was like, I'm inexperienced here. You're taking all the risk on me. And I actually said, look, don't even do a joint venture agreement. Let's just do a project management agreement. If I'm terrible, you just pay me a spotter's fee. And if I'm good, then we'll share in the profits. So there was no risk to that person. They were on the title. I wasn't on the title. And the risk to me was I worked for free if she was just like, wasn't going to pay me, and it all worked away. But we ended up doing 6 deals together, and we had a really good relationship until we got to a point where, we could do our own stuff. But unrealistic returns. And you want to know what's their experience as well, because everyone's got to start somewhere, but can they bring in a project manager maybe? To help manage the project, to de-risk it a little bit. So you want to know what their experience is for that deal. The returns, the security, and the experience.
How are you finding profitable deals in New South Wales from 1 to 2 or 3, where the owner expectation is higher than market value as they understand there is? What do you think about that one? How do you answer that one? Go to a different site, maybe.
The good news is it's in every state. I don't know if that's good news, but I had a call with 2 people today, and they were like, "Oh, Perth, there's just no money." I was like, "Mate, that's everywhere. There's no 90%, 95% of the deals are rubbish." And that's the problem. People get all excited. Oh, I found a site I can subdivide now, but there's no money in it. Yeah. See, what we do is actually really simple, in the sense that we're just doing it's grade 5 maths, and you're allowed to use a calculator, and but it's hard in the sense you got to do mundane tasks over and over and over and over again. And that's where people quit. It's going on realestate.com each day, putting in development, DA, subdivision into your keywords, into New South Wales, Queensland, or the general area that you're looking at targeting. Ringing the agents that have sold development sites and saying, "Hey, 5 John Street, that's the perfect site. If you get another one of those, bring it to me, and I'll give you the sales at the back end." Start dangling carrots left, right, and centre, so you're getting deal flow. So after these years, I had 6 deals come to me off market yesterday. After years of just every single conversation I end with an agent, I'm always dangling the carrot. Hey, if you find something, I'd love to get you to, you get first look at it to sell. You can't promise anything. You want agents bringing you deals, but most of my stuff's still on market, and it's just making offers where it makes sense. Like, I've got 6 projects on the board now that I'm looking at. 3 of them we bought 3 to 12 months after they were listed, because sometimes the best negotiator is the market. Everyone comes in hot, and everyone looks at it and runs the fees and goes, "That doesn't work." And they move on. They forget about it. And like one of our best deals was on the market for 6 years. And I remember trying to flog it off to someone, to another developer, and said, and then COVID hit and the market took off, and I was like, all of a sudden that deal works. So I think it's just making offers. Like, I try and make a couple offers. So I make, like, on average 2 offers a week to buy 2 to 3 a year.
I just want to hit on this development, because $770,000 is just a ridiculous number. So
It's a good one.
what actually? Well, let's just pretend you had the money. Like, what would actually go into this deal? So
Yep.
you would have, because you borrowed money from your parents, and not a lot of people have that, but a lot of people do have investment portfolios that have equity, and they've got a little bit of cash savings. So if we were to think about a 770 net profit deal, like what?
So
overall,
if you structure that deal like we did, we got that longer settlement, and you can get a line of credit, get some working capital. Like, so that DA only cost us, it was like $50,000 to $70,000 to execute that. That's all the town planning fees, the council fees. We had an ecologist for the trees. We had a bushfire consultant, and we had our engineer design the driveways and bits and pieces. And so they're kind of like the 5 consultants. And if you're starting out, your town planner, go interview 3 town planners, because they're your conduit to everybody else. They'll know a good bushfire consultant, a good engineer, hopefully, if you've got a good town planner. So if you're starting out, you don't understand the game, the best advice I can give you is go buy an hour's time of 3 different town planners in the area that you want to work in, and try and wrap your head around the development and what you're looking for. So, if you're in New South Wales, your R1, R2, R5 zonings, what are the minimum lot sizes? What am I looking for in this area? What do I have to be careful of, the koala and the flooding, and and the same thing in whatever state you're in. Understanding the terminology, how long DAs take, because it's so different from state to state. Like Victoria can take a little bit longer in WA. Sometimes the lead time for Western Power's really long. Like in Queensland, certain councils own their own sewer and water infrastructure, and then you get like Brisbane and say, Moreton and Ipswich, you've got to go to urban utilities, whereas, Logan and Gold Coast, they look after their own sewer and water connections. So understanding those little nuances, how long things take, a really good town planner will be able to, so it's the best money you ever spend. If you're thinking about getting into it, spend the $600. The reality is half of them won't even charge you because they want your business. But if you offer it and respect their time, it's the way to do it.
100%. I think that's the key point there of being offered. No, I will pay you because I value your time. They love it. They'll spend 3 hours with you because they appreciate that you understand the knowledge. And it's only when you start to pay for something that people realize that that you're actually interested and knowledgeable.
So that was on the market for 6 years, that property. And
what are we looking at? This. Oh no, that's a lake.
Yeah, so you've got so that's not a lake, that's a stormwater basin. So so that's 11 lots. That road initially, when we picked up that DA, where we've got that cul-de-sac where it changes to the concrete driveway, got that cul-de-sac head that you can see. That road used to go all the way to the end, and where it goes out of screen is actually another road that backs onto it. We shortened the road up because we thought, what's the point of going all the way through to the other side? So it's 2 roads frontages. So we saved a lot of road that we didn't have to build. We also got told that there was all these koala offsets that we had to pay, and because it was such an old approval, there's actually a house up at the top left-hand corner. They carved 1 block off to keep the DA in perpetuity. So if you do it in multiple stages, if the first stage gets carved off, the DA doesn't die, essentially. It stays alive. So this is one of those ones where they just had a big number on it. There was 2.25 at the time. Blocks were only selling in the $400,000 range. And then COVID hit. And then all of a sudden, I was watching a block. This is one of the ones I've had saved for like years in realestate.com as one of my, saved properties. And I saw a block come up for sale, and I was like, if that goes, I saw the market going everywhere, and Logan took a little bit longer to go. And all of a sudden it sold in the first week. And I rang up the agent. I said, he goes, I've had sold for 550, and I've had people miss out, and if I had 10 of these, I would be able to sell them really quickly. So I was like, so I said, well, let's put it under. So we got the put and call. So just for people to understand, put and call option is you got the you don't actually. It's not a contract, and there is a contract behind the option, but you basically sign an agreement that you control the property during that period. So I'm not on the title. It's not like a long settlement, because in Queensland you've got to pay stamp duty interest after 3 months if you do that. So options are really good, so you can avoid that, and that's probably one of the biggest ways to actually get it over the line. And you can also on-sell it without incurring stamp duty, which is why I love stamp duty. You can put a nominees clause in the actual option document, because remember, we don't own it, we just control it, and we're just passing on that piece of paper, and then they can settle it themselves.
Just going to put this one up. Information general nature. Go and speak to your solicitor and conveyancer, mostly probably solicitor, but yeah, about that one.
And for people that say it's hard to find sites, yes, it is. But my 15-year-old son, he was 12 when he found that site. I just showed him, these are the keywords you put in. I want you to run it through this little kind of these are the overlays you look at, and then don't send it to me unless you've done that. So, us adults can do it, when kids can do it. It is pretty simple process, and then once it gets more complicated, you send it to your town planner. So, so that deal, we settled it. It was valued at paid 2.25. It was worth 3 when we settled, and that was so we put $100,000 down for the deposit. Once again, 70 grand to change the DA and improve it, and to get it operational works approved. So once you've got a development approval, you have to do the detailed design of the roads and the levels and all that, so a contractor can actually build the thing, as opposed to just a conceptual layout, if you like. So we got it shovel ready. So the time we settled, so we're in and out of that project in 12 months. So and that was as you can see,
we had a 15-month put and call option, but you got it all done and dusted sooner than you expected.
So it took us 15 months to actually get the approvals through. Not that long, but we waited to the 15th month to settle, because we wanted the market was still up. There was no need to settle and start it. And we actually put in the option, a document to get the we wanted to clear the trees under the option. So we actually cleared the trees before we even settled on the property. So
wow, that's
fantastic. That's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And this is another reason why we're to prove to the valuer, we've got it shovel ready. We've shortened the road. We've got the offsets removed from the koala side of things, and we've already cleared the trees. This property is worth a lot more than what it was when we bought it. And so by showing those things, and showing the comps, and all of a sudden the blocks were selling for $650, all of a sudden it was a cracking deal. Our fees though was only like 1.45 when we went to do the deal, and we had a bit of cream obviously on that.
I told you, Joe, we need to start Oz property developers. It's
what are we doing? We're doing, you purchased this for $2 million, you spent $2 million, and you made $2.7 million
in about 15 months roughly.
Yeah. So it was actually a 2-year project, but we actually physically only owned it. So we controlled it for that 15 months, and then from the time we bought it to the time we did the construction, settled out, it was 12 months. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And I think a lot of people also don't think about 15 months of owning it and doing all of the work. You're getting nothing, nothing but expense. It's costing you all this money and all of this time, energy, effort, all of this difficulty. I
just think a lot of resilience.
It takes a lot, because I don't think a lot of people have that kind of that mindset of, no, this is 3 years. I'm not going to get anything. It's going to a money pit. But what are you going to do otherwise? What are you going to do with money otherwise? And
you can do it on the side. If you don't have a cent, if you pitch that deal to a sophisticated investor or developer, they'll do that deal all day long and take 50% of the profits and just and kind of just watch the deal. You just need to hang around communities like what you guys are doing, and you'll find people that and not everybody's going to be into development, and it does come with a lot of risks. It's obviously your straight investment is a lot less riskier, but obviously the upside's a lot bigger as well. So you need to learn the skill, but it's not rocket science. building the good team, understanding private finance, or just finance in general. Like, it's as much a money game as it is, and then getting good at finding the deals, and learning the art of negotiation and on market, off market. So I think it's a reasonably simple process once you understand. It's not simple when you're starting out, but it's not complicated. Like, I'm a carpet cleaner. Like, I just employ really smart people. And the good thing about development, we got, like you say, $100 million worth of projects. It's just me and Shannon. That's the thing I love about it. And it's just emails and phone calls. It's not like, for the first 5 years, I was still working full time cleaning carpets.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it on the side. You could have one little subdivision on the side, and you're just giving the town planner a nudge, giving the contractor a nudge. Like, it's actually a reasonably, like, as opposed to doing renos, for example, it's very labor intensive. If you're doing reno flips full time, you're slugging it out, but there's a lot of risk as well. It's structuring the deals and understanding what the pitfalls are. And if you don't get the approval, like we've got a thing, what happens? Can you handle the worst case scenario? If the answer is no, you don't buy the deal. So that's still our standpoint. And our margins, most developers are working on 20% margins. Most of ours are 30 to 40 because we're targeting really hairy sites and solving the problems. So that's what I look for.